I mean, it sounds good, as I said, when you hear that, what, $50 billion, you know, for whoever was thinking, oh, I don't know what they were thinking, but first of all, let me ask you, this sum that Jumoke Oduwole, the Honorable Minister of Industry and Trade, that she revealed at the briefing organized by the Ministry of Information yesterday, is it news to you? I mean, are you surprised? Or is indeed this the kind of thing that was expected?
Well, thank you so very much for having me once again. First is that I must commend the federal government and the presidency for introducing this ministerial briefing, because it allows Nigerians to be able to have a sector-by-sector understanding of what you know, is going on within the Nigerian economy. So that in itself is a very novel initiative. I think this briefing has been going on for the past 2 weeks, where the Minister of Information actually gets other ministers to come and speak to the Nigerian people as to what is going on. And of course, yesterday was the turn for the Minister of Industries, Trade and Investment to speak to Nigerians. And she went ahead to say what they've been doing, and of course made a mention of the word $50.8 billion in terms of commitments, you know, foreign investment commitments, you know, that has come as a result of the president's, you know, diplomatic shuttle across the world. First, it must also be said that the president has also been the chief marketer of the country, Nigeria, at this particular point in time. And indeed, that's his responsibility. Ideally, he's even the #1 Minister of Foreign Affairs, you know, which means that he's got the responsibility of telling the world about his country, of marketing the country, and of course, driving investment towards this direction. That he has also done creditably well. You know, the president's foreign trips, if you like, has always been about economic investment and trade opportunities. It's always been about diplomatic strengthening of ties, you know, and then trying to ensure that, you know, we have a better global reputation for Nigeria. It's about driving for, seeking for investments in energy and infrastructure, security, counter-terrorism cooperation, diaspora remittances, debt relief for the country to be able to ensure economic stability, you know, partnerships in education, and of course, investments in technology. So that seems to be the area of focus for the president. But the minister has actually mentioned the word, specifically $50.8 billion, in the form of investment commitments. Yes. And, you know, how this works is that in this engagement, you go ahead to sign MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding. And in that MOU, it clearly details what needs to come, who has got what responsibility, and the timing for carrying all of those things out. And I also did understand, I'm not quite sure if you heard it, that they have actually signed about 87 MOUs, you know, spanning across all of this diplomatic shuttle within the time frame. You know, so what that basically means is that it sounds good, $50.8 billion sounds good, but you see, what is important at the end of the day is implementation. Yes. What is important is tracking. What is important is follow-up. What Nigerians want to hear is, it's okay to hear commitments, but at the end of the day, what will matter is how much of this came to materialization. And that's why I think that the reforms that the government embarked on at the beginning of this administration was important, because for an investor, foreign investor into Nigeria, you know, what are you looking for? You want to be able to repatriate your investment at any particular point in time that you want it back. you also want ease of doing business. You do not want government that will keep on having policy somersaults, So you also want a very, a business environment that is friendly so that you can actually come in with your investments and then feel, welcomed and, of course, drive your businesses. So I think that these reforms will clearly, were meant to support the drive for the investments coming into the country. So we are hoping and believing that these investments will be tracked. We're believing that it will be monitored, it will be followed up, and then it begins to move from commitment to reality. What will matter at the end of the day is how much truly came in from the commitments. And that's why these MOUs are very important, because it details who has got what responsibility, if you date back the first, after inauguration, the president went to India. There were about $16 billion in terms of commitments. From there to Riyadh, from there to Germany, from there back to Riyadh, from there to G8, G20. So there has always been quite a lot of...
in fact, specifically 413 international trips since inauguration, according to the minister. 413. We might not have realized that there were as many as that.
No, incidentally, I'm surprised actually at the number, but, you will wonder about the cost. But at the end of the day, the major issue, in my opinion, is, we have gone out to get these commitments.
Yes.
How much of these commitments have we been able to move from a paper document that has been signed to reality on ground? That's what I think that we need to focus on. And of course, if I was also expecting that there will be a breakdown of this $50.8 billion in terms of commitment, so that people actually know various areas. Yes, I had talked about the fact that there were, outlets, investment outlets that the president provides on his trips, take, for example, infrastructure, energy. This is a country of over 200 million in population, and the size of the markets here is quite huge. So infrastructure, for example, is a big investment opportunity. Infrastructure in the form of roads, in the form of transportation, in the form of healthcare, in the form of education. There's quite a lot in terms of opportunities that there are for the country, And clearly, I think that that breakdown will be necessary just for the purpose of information. But beyond the breakdown is that I'm hoping and believing that a lot of work will be done in terms of tracking and monitoring and follow-up, and ensuring that Nigeria does whatever we have committed to in the Memorandum of Understanding, that will in turn translate those commitments to actual realities on ground. And that's what I believe, that if the drive goes in this direction, I mean, it's not, we haven't been short of commitments in terms of, what potentials there are in terms of what can come into the country. What we need is to begin to drive those things and begin to ensure that we bring to reality what has been committed. Fine, the first step is to get that commitment, but the most important is implementation.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for putting this in perspective and explaining it, the MOUs and